And remember that the principles of science of mind are based on Ernest Holmes' exploration of all spiritual paths. He was brilliant in that he has seen, by studying everything, that there are truths that appear in every religion. In every religion. And that's really what I want to talk about, because you'll remember that I spent 10 days in silence. Bet you didn't think I could do it.
10 days.
10 days in silence. Actually, I couldn't do it. The first day I walked out, there was this beautiful sunset. I went, wow. The next morning, as I'm getting ready to go to breakfast, open the front door, it's pouring rain. I went, oh. There weren't big words. And then, on the third day when I opened the door, there's 3 inches of snow. My! And that was all. But one of the things that happens in that, it was a Buddhist retreat, is that there are 5 precepts that needed to be kept in mind the whole time we were there at the retreat. And they are universal. They are universal. Here's what the 5 precepts were. We had to agree to this as we go into the silent retreat. Abstain from killing anything. I could do that. Bugs and all. Abstain from stealing. Actually, the way it was phrased was, take nothing that is not given. Isn't that a different feel to it? Take nothing that is not given, which is not the same as receive nothing. Take nothing that wasn't given to you. I loved that. It's a lovely phrasing of it. Abstain from sexual misconduct. Okay. It's easier for me in this age. Abstain from wrong speech. And abstain from intoxicants. All right. So then I'm looking up the 10 Commandments, because, you know, they've been around a while too. And all 5 of those things are represented in the 10 Commandments. I'm not going to read you the whole 10 Commandments, and I'm not going to do that because some of them are very specific to religion. I am going to tell you the very first one. Do you remember the first commandment? There is no God but God. Have no other false gods before me. There's only one thing. There's only one thing in the universe. It is not duality. It is the one thing that is everywhere present as each one of us, in each one of us, through each one of us, between each one of us. It's all God. That's all there is. There's only one God. Make no false oath, or bear no false witness. That's one of the 10 Commandments. That's the same as have no false speech. Do not lie. No stealing. Thou shalt not steal. Take nothing that wasn't given. Don't covet your neighbor's wife. That also runs the other direction. Don't covet your neighbor's husband. And is the same as have no sexual misconduct. That's right. Thou shalt not kill. Abstain from killing anything. Now, of course, most of the time what we mean when we say that is don't kill anybody in the tribe. But we're going to war with a different tribe. So put on your gear, we're going. And speak bear no false witness against your neighbor, which is the same thing as have no wrong speech. So these things are the rules for, the commandments for living a good life. They mean that we do not have to have on our consciousness things that pull us away from the straight path that leads us to our desires and our goals. Because when we have trespassed on any of these kinds of rules for a good life, we have guilt that goes on. We have things that distract us. We have those conversations which are arguments in your mind that hold you away from where you're trying to go. So what we want to do is hold to those 5 precepts. In addition to the other ones, hold a Sabbath sacred. Hold a day for yourself when you're not working. You're not thinking about work. You're not doing anything but holding a sacred space for your spirit to fill itself up again. I believe that we all walk, live, play, work in our American work ethic in such a way that we never do give ourselves rest. We think that we have to get so much done that we never give ourselves time to refill our bodies. Refill our bodies. Oftentimes we even do that in relationship. We're so busy giving and giving and giving and giving that we don't take time to fill ourselves up. And the Jewish Sabbath is, you're not going to cook. I like that one. You're not going to clean. That's my favorite. You're not going to get in your car and go to work. You're not going to go to work at all. You are actually holding sacred space for sacred time for yourself. That's essential to our good health and good livelihoods. Then you come back to work refreshed, empty of all the worry and the work and the things that the to-do lists, and are ready to fill yourself up and give yourself fully to what you're doing to make your life more fully, thoroughly enjoyable. So I said to myself, well, what does Ernest Holmes have to say about that? Because Ernest and I were like that. I love Ernest. Ernest is talking about 2 great commandments. There's 10, but these are his two favorite, I guess. And the first one is, the 2 great commandments are to love God and each other. On these hang all law and the prophets. Love is a complete unity with life, and we cannot enter this state unless we are in unity with all that lives, for all life is one. To love God alone is not enough, for this would exclude our fellow humans. To love our fellow humans alone is not sufficient, for this would be too limited a concept of God. When we realize that God and man are one, not two, we shall love both. We shall love man as an expression of God, and God as the life principle in all. Now, here's the key. From this teaching, we are not to suppose that we are to love that in each other which does not savor the right. We are to love the right alone. We are to look to God in each other and love this God, forgetting all else. But would this compel us to accept from people that which is not good? Of course not. It is not necessary for one to make a doormat of oneself in proving that God is love, for this would be like suffering for righteousness' sake, which is always a mistake. Don't you love that? Look at the world full of martyrs who have not paid attention to themselves, who have given themselves away, and have not held the sacredness of the self. When we give ourselves away too much, then we have not held enough of our own self as a sacred entity and have not built ourselves the sanctuary of the soul. That is who we are. We have these glorious, wonderful bodies that we walk around in, and we are often mistaken in thinking that they're who we are. The physical body is not who we are. You have taken off this old clothing many times in the past and re-put on a whole new garment. And we have come forth in that way every time we desired to do so, in order to allow ourselves to express spirit once again through a precious human body. Precious human body is a Buddhist concept. These precious human bodies are sought after and desired, and we have chosen and been gifted with a precious human body, a precious human life here in this time and space. So let me quote from a poem from Mary Oliver, who is one of our great American poets, currently living. She's totally wonderful. She has a poem about walking in a meadow and finding a grasshopper and picking it up and holding it in her hand, and she's having a conversation with the grasshopper. Personally, I would not be able to do that. When I was a kid, my brother used to chase me around the house with grasshoppers, with me going, okay, so I'm pretty much over it nowadays. I'm going to tell you the way I got it. I'm going to distract myself here. I'm going to tell you the way I got over it. I made the mistake of telling my second husband, Chuck, that I was afraid of grasshoppers. I'm looking out the kitchen window, and he's out there in our front yard in Lancaster, which happened to be, we had 3 acres, so there's a large part of it that's covered in goat head stickers. He's got on thongs, and he's got one in his hand, and he is trying to catch a grasshopper, and I went, you have got to get over that grasshopper thing. or he will torture you with that forever. I'm over the grasshoppers, but I still don't want to hold them. Okay, so Mary Oliver, she's talking to the grasshopper, and the end line of the poem is, what will you do with your one precious life? What will you do with your one wild and precious life? Your life is wild and precious, and if you're living it too small, too conservatively, too straight and narrow, so that you haven't gotten wild yet, break out of the shell. It's too small for you. We really need great, big, wonderful, juicy lives. And as I've told you before, the object to this life is you slide into home base through the pearly gates, going, wow, what a ride! Do not leave this body in good shape. Wear it out. Use it up. What are you going to do with it when you're done? Nothing. Serves no purpose whatsoever when we're gone. And because I